Retro Gaming Boss here, and I just wanted to share my impressions of the new demo of Panzer Dragoon Zwei REMAKE. Because back when the original demo for this came out earlier in the year, something just felt off. And of course, the internet had a meltdown, and honestly, for a minute there, I was right there with them. But something happened recently that you might have missed, and it completely changed my perspective on this remaster. So I want to take a couple of minutes to walk you through what changed in the new demo, why the earlier backlash might have been a bit much, and why I'm keeping my final verdict locked away until the full game drops. If you're not familiar with the Panzer Dragoon series, it's one of Sega's best franchises, and whether you're a fan of this kind of rail shooter or not, they're beautiful artistic experiences worth looking into or even playing again, and I've made a couple of other videos about the first two games to catch you up on why they're so revered by retro gamers. Now, when that first demo dropped during the Steam Next Fest in February of 2026, hardcore fans of the original Sega Saturn classic predictably flooded the Steam discussion boards and Reddit with all sorts of complaints. It wasn't vague grumbling, people had receipts. The criticisms fell into a few main categories. The dragon's movement felt stiff and lacked physical weight. The controls and aiming were kind of clunky and unresponsive. The visuals looked bleak and cheap and like generic assets on a mobile game. The audio mixing was a disaster, with the sound effects drowning out the soundtrack, and the technical performance was a stuttering mess on anything but top-end hardware. It was a rough look for a game that so many of us were genuinely excited about. But here's where it gets curious. Forever Software didn't ignore the noise. They listened. And with this new updated demo, they've addressed almost every single major point of contention. Let me show you what I mean. The first and most vocal complaint was about the dragon itself. In the Saturn original, Laggy had beautiful animations, and you could see and feel the physics in the movement. There was even this little delayed tail wag when you turned that made the character feel alive with actual weight and momentum. In the February demo, that was completely gone, and for those who played that, the dragon felt more static and boxy, like piloting a cardboard cutout. Now check this out. In the new demo, that weight is back. The animations are much more fluid, with a real sense of inertia when you bank or change direction. The tail now reacts organically to your movements. It's not a perfect replica of the Saturn original, but it's a massive step in the right direction. The dragon finally feels like a living thing again. Then there were the controls. The lock-on and cursor targeting in the February demo were widely panned as unresponsive and awkward. People complained that the aiming felt clunky and the overall game speed was off, lacking that perfect handling in the 1996 classic. And wait till you see what they've done with this. The targeting is now snappy and precise, moving with the kind of responsiveness that you'd expect from a modern shooter, while still retaining that distinct Panzer Dragoon feel. The game speed has also been dialed up to match the original's pace. It's a huge improvement that makes combat feel exhilarating. And the real hard part here is getting this right, and the new demo strikes a far better balance, capturing that brilliant and graceful shooting action that made the Saturn original so special. Now back to the earlier demo. The visual backlash was particularly harsh. It had a bleak and overly drab color palette and generic shaders that lacked the stylized artistic direction of the original Saturn games. Some harsh Steam reviews complained that the environmental models and textures looked so cheap. They resembled stock engine assets rather than a high-effort remake. It was the kind of critique that stings because it strikes at the heart of what a remaster should be. By way of contrast, the new demo presents a much more vibrant and stylized art direction. The color palette's richer, with a saturated and more painterly quality that the original was known for. The shaders were also overhauled to give environments a more distinct and handcrafted look. It finally feels like a world you want to explore, not just some generic fantasy backdrop. So that's step one, fixing what's broken. Now step two is where it's going to get super interesting when the full game is released, and I'm intensely curious to see how they've expanded on the branching paths and the dragon evolution system. But here's what most players could miss when they complain about a rough demo. The point of a demo isn't to show a perfect game. It's to test the waters and get feedback. The internet's reaction to the first demo was so overwhelmingly negative that it could have easily buried the game before it even had a chance. The final two criticisms were about audio mixing and technical performance. In the February build, laser blasts and explosions routinely drowned out the beautiful soundtrack, forcing players to drop the sound effects volume significantly just to hear the music. It was a jarring experience that ruined the atmosphere of key moments. The new demo has rebalanced the audio beautifully and allows the music to drive the emotional beats, while the sound effects provide a satisfying intensity without overpowering everything else. And then there's the performance. The initial build suffered from frame rate stutters, poor optimization on intermediate hardware, and extremely limited graphical options. The new demo runs significantly smoother, thank goodness, so it's clear the developer spent serious time optimizing the engine. The fact that Forever Software not only heard that feedback, but acted on it so thoroughly shows a level of respect for the community that's increasingly rare. I mean, just look at Sony digging its heels in about its decision to scrap physical media in the future. That's not going to end well. But the real test, though, will be the final product. This new demo is a fantastic sign, a huge leap in the right direction. The game now feels engaging and just looks gorgeous. But it's still a demo. It's a vertical slice. So am I ready to call Panzer Dragoon Zwei Remake a masterpiece? Not yet. I need to play the entire game. I need to see how the difficulty scales, and how the story holds up, and if the Dragon evolution system delivers on its promise. See, a demo, even a great one, can only tell you so much. The true test of a remaster is in the long haul, from the first level to the final boss. And from what I've experienced here, the potential is absolutely there, and this new demo has more than restored my faith. But what do you think? Are you going to give this new demo a try, or did the first one burn you too badly? Let me know in the comments below. And before we go, here's some more of the gameplay footage, so you can make up your own mind. Alright my friends, this is the Retro Gaming Boss signing out. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.